The scientists must also think in terms of polarity and use terms which have that connotation in them. I will give an example of my meaning by quoting a paragraph from the Scientific American, January 1952. Even more confusing is the fact that all the mesons, psi and mu, undergo spontaneous disintegration. Why not say that they have become depolarized, or that they have attained their equilibrium, or that they have attained zero? The simple fact is that the motion which gave them seeming being has ceased. There is no such effect in nature as spontaneous disintegration. I will quote the rest of the same paragraph to call attention to the needless complexity of descriptive terminology which belief in substance seems to make necessary. It is as follows. When left alone in free space, a positive or negative psi meson decays into a positive or negative mu meson, and a neutrino within about 250 millionth of a second. Then the positive or negative mu meson decays into a positive or negative electron plus 2 neutrinos within about 2 millionth of a second. The neutral psi meson also is unstable and decays into 2 gamma rays in a very short time indeed, about 100 millionth of a second. The above is a very complex and confusing way of saying that matter has disappeared or depolarization has because motion has ceased. God's universe consists solely of vibrating waves of two-way interchanging motion. Every effect in nature is included in that simplicity. Any child will fully comprehend you when you tell him that sound is an effect caused by rapid vibrations. You can demonstrate it by plucking a harp string so that he can see that the sound is caused by rapid motion. You do not even need to tell him that the sound ceases when the motion ceases. His common sense will tell him that. If, however, you tell him the wire is composed of positive protons which decay into negative electrons in a 100 millionth of a second to produce sound, then the negative electrons decay into silence in another 100 millionth of a second, he will look at you blankly and understand not one word of it. All of these many named particles, which science thinks of as differently charged substances, are all basically the same spiral units of motion. These are constantly being transformed from one condition to another, as each divided pair obeys the polarizing charge of gravity until it has completed the outward half of its journey to its reversal point of rest. It then returns as each one depolarizes and withdraws within its fulcrum zero of rest. Exactly the same thing is true of all the elements. Science has given them 92 names and listed their many attributes, such as metals, metalloids, and nonmetals, alkalis, and acids, brittle and pliable, conductive and non-conductive, dense, liquid, soft, gaseous, and many other attributes. To anyone, whether scientist or layman, a piece of iron, a piece of aluminum, and a lump of gold are three different metals which have always been and always will be just what they unquestionably are: three unalterably different substances. Any other interpretation of them would be unthinkable. That is the kind of thinking, however, which must be relegated to past ages. Mankind must henceforth learn to look upon matter as a transient motion picture record of the ideal which it simulates, for that is what it really is, a cosmic cinema thrown upon the majestic screen of space. The new concept of matter. All of the many seeming substances in this universe are but many different pressure conditions. These have been created by the interchange of two-way motion between two opposed poles of rest, which have been extended from the zero universe of knowing mind to simulate the multiple ideas of thinking mind. Any form of matter becomes another form of matter if its pressure condition is changed. Nature perpetually changes one form of matter into another by perpetually changing its pressure conditions. Every element in the entire periodic table is a transmutation from the preceding element of its cycle, from its beginning in zero to the ending of the entire 9 octaves in the zero of its beginning. The age of transmutation of the elements by man begins when he has full knowledge of the manner in which nature transmutes one element into another. Creation, postulated progressively. Number 1. This universe of moving body forms is an expression of the desire for division of the formless, sexless, father-mother balanced unity into pairs of equally and oppositely unbalanced, disunited, sex-conditioned father and mother moving body forms. Number 2. The purpose of this division into sex-conditioned, disunited pairs of father and mother moving body forms is to eternally extend the desire for unifying disunited father and mother body forms in order to eternally extend desire in them for repeating their sequences of division and unity. Number 3, the only energy in the universe is the pulsing desire of mind for the creative expression of mind knowing by giving thought-imaged body forms to the ideal of mind knowing. Number 4, the only means of expressing the pulsing desire of mind ideal is through the concentrative, decentrative pulsations of mind thinking. Number 5, mind thinking is electric. The desire pulsations of electric thinking are concentrative and decentrative. Number 6, concentrative thinking focuses ideal into pattern form in seed of matter to manifest the fatherhood of creation. To focus is to compress. The product of concentrative thinking is the compression of gravitation, which fathers all body forms. Number 7, decentrative thinking expands conceived ideal from its pattern seed and extends it outward from seed ideal to give it body form of ideal, and thus manifest the motherhood of creation. To extend is to expand. The product of decentrative thinking is the expansion of radiation, which mothers all body forms. Number 8, the mother pole of creation unfolds the moving body from its seed ideal and projects it toward its zero in the heavens of space. Number 9, the father pole of creation refolds the extending mother form into its seed and withdraws it toward its zero in body forms of earth. Number 10, all body forms of matter give forth pulsing life as its action and receive pulsing death as its reaction. 11, all body forms of matter are both womb and tomb of all life and death. 12, all life is born from death, and death is born from life, for reborning death and life. All opposites born each other and become each other in alternate sequences. 13, the seed is the fulcrum zero from which the divided father and mother body forms extend and sequentially return for re-extension. The seed of all things centers all things. It is the fulcrum of the eternally manifested tree of life, and of every root, branch, and leaf, and of every corpuscle of every root, branch, and leaf. 14. The soul centers the seed of all ideal. All action, reaction, pulsations of living dying body forms are recorded in the soul seed of all living dying body forms. All living body forms are dying as they live, and living as they die. Veritably, death is born in the very cradle of life, and the tomb again cradles death as life. 15. The electrochemical records of the zero seed of all things are the zero elements which are known as the inert gases, from which center of the fulcrum zero of polarity all polarizing body forms extend to manifest vitalizing life, and return as depolarizing forms to manifest devitalizing death. 16. The inert gases are God's recording and repeating system. They record, remember, and repeat all actions, reactions of all things, from eternity unto eternity. They broadcast all of creation to all creation, and, likewise, receive the broadcast of all creation for rebroadcasting to all creation. 17. The inert gases are zeros in the universal equilibrium. Polarity divides and extends the one light into electric thought wave cycles, which appear from the one still light as pairs of moving lights, and disappear into that still light for reappearance forever without end. 18. The inert gases are the spiritual elements which born and reborn the physical elements, and meticulously make spectrum records of their eternities of rebornings. 19. The inert gases center all elements from within to control their unfolding cycles of polarizing, depolarizing form, and balance them from without by two poles of still light to control their refolding of form into their zero seed. 20. The inert gases record purposeful unfoldings and give back to each corpuscle of motion its cell memory of purpose and its instinctive guidance. Number 21. They likewise give back to awakening consciousness the records of all cycles of soul awakenings, which have been written in the soul seeds of all unfolding, refolding body forms.